Hello and welcome to the lecture on deployment models. I'm happy to have you in this lecture. The objective of this lecture is to help you understand deployment models in detail. So without wasting another moment, let's dive deep into the subject. In this lecture, let's understand the complete life cycle of how Boomi works. Even though Boomi is a powerful iPaaS platform with many capabilities, the core workflow, delivering and integration flows into the four simple stages. Nothing but the build, pack, deploy and manage. These are the four stages, right? Let's understand each stage one by one. Let's understand the build first. The first stage or the first step is the build step. This is where you design your integration process. Inside the Boomi's low code designer, you drag and drop shapes, you choose connectors like Salesforce, SAP or databases and define how the data should flow. Your goal in this stage is to create the integration logic, like what data you are pulling, how you are transforming it and where you are sending it. So everything happens through a visual interface. So no heavy programming is needed at the build stage. Next is the pack stage. Once your process is built, Boomi converts your design into a packed execution unit. Think of this step as a bundling your integration. So it becomes ready for deployment. The Boomi automatically prepares all the required dependencies, connectors and configuration into a single package. This ensures your integration will run the same way in any environment like cloud, hybrid or on-premise. The next step is deploy. In this phase, you choose where the integration should run. When you deploy, Boomi pushes the package integration into the runtime engine, making it ready for execution. This is similar to deploying an app into a server. Once deployed, the process can run automatically based on the schedules, events or triggers. Next, the last step is the manage step. This is where you monitor the process after deployment. So Boomi provides dashboards, logs, alerts, retry options, and detailed execution tracking. You can see which executions were successful, which failed, how much data was processed, and where issues are occurred. This stage is important because it helps you to maintain reliability, troubleshoot quickly, and ensure smooth operations. So in conclusion, Boomi simplifies the entire integration lifecycle into these four clear steps. First, build the process, pack it, deploy it and manage it. So this makes integration development structured, repeatable and easy for both technical and non-technical users. Throughout this course, we'll explore each of these steps in detail and understand how they fit in the overall Boomi platform. In this slide, I want you to focus on one simple but very powerful idea. In Boomi, the code you build is completely independent of where it runs. At the top of the diagram, you see a code package. This represents your integration process, the logic you design inside the Boomi. It could be your data flow, an API or mapping or any automated workflow. Now look at the bottom. Now you see multiple runtime boxes, right? So in Boomi, a runtime is an execution engine. It is the environment where your integration actually runs. So the key point is this. You build your integration once and Boomi can deploy and execute that same code package on any runtime. Whether you have a cloud runtime, whether you have an on-premise runtime, or either you have an hybrid runtime or your runtime clusters for high availability is available. Once you have the package, you can deploy it anywhere. So the code does not change. This gives you three major benefits. First is the portability. You don't rewrite your integrations where your infrastructure changes. The same code package can be deployed to any runtime with no modification. So that's the portability. Next is the flexibility. You can choose the runtime based on your business needs. Maybe you want on-premise for security or cloud for scalability. Boomi supports them all. So you have that flexibility. Next is isolation and fault tolerance. Each runtime executes independently. So if one runtime goes down or needs maintenance, the other continued running without affecting your integration. So the message from this slide is very clear. In Boomi, the code you built is runtime agnostic, which means the execution environment can change, scale or expand, but your integration logic remains the same. This is one of the core strengths of the Boomi platform. Design once, deploy anywhere. So the Boomi allows organization to design integration in the cloud, but the actual execution of this integration happens on something called as a runtime. A runtime is simply a lightweight engine that runs your Boomi processes. Depending on where this runtime is deployed, Boomi offers three deployment models. Let's look at them one by one. First one is cloud deployment model, which is Boomi Cloud Runtime. This is the default and most common deployment model. What it means? It means your integration process runs on Boomi's fully managed cloud infrastructure. You design in the browser, click deploy, Boomi runs it in the secure cloud environment. When to use it? When both systems you are integrating are cloud-based, example Salesforce to NetSuite, Shopify to SAP Business One Cloud. When you do not have strict firewall or any on-premise restriction, then you go for the Boomi Cloud. And when you want zero maintenance and auto scaling from Boomi, you can go for Boomi Cloud Runtime. What is the benefit you're gonna get? No servers to install or maintain. You can automatically scale it because it's a cloud environment. Boomi manages upgrades, patches, and reliability. Think of it as, plug in and go. The integration run entirely in the Boomi's cloud. Next is the on-premise deployment model, which is nothing but the local runtime. This was previously known as Atom, now called as local runtime after the terminology change. What it means? You install a runtime engine inside your company network and your integration process runs inside your firewall. When to use it? If your system is inside your data center, let's say SAP ECC, Oracle DB, or a file server, then you basically use this approach. If your security team does not allow external access to the internal system, then you want to go for a local runtime. Also, if you need to work with legacy or highly restricted systems, a local runtime option is a good choice. What are the benefits? You get full control inside your network. You meet strict data residency and compliance needs. Can directly connect to internal servers with no VPN or firewall exposure. A good example is extracting files from a shared folder on your company LAN. You want to connect to an on-premise database that is not exposed to the internet. In these cases, a local runtime is a good fit. Think of it as a small engine installed in your office that securely talks to Boomi. The third approach is hybrid deployment model, which is cloud plus on-premise together. This is the most common real-world setup. And what it means, some integrations run in the cloud runtime, some run in the local runtime, and both are controlled centrally from the Boomi platform. When to use it? You have a mix of cloud and on-premise systems, example Workday in cloud plus SAP ECC on on-prem, or you want the flexibility of both the worlds, on-prem and the cloud, or you need low latency access to the internal systems but also want to scale the cloud. What are the benefits? It is flexible. You get the balanced performance and best options for modern enterprises migrating to the cloud gradually. What are the real-time example? A HR system, which is nothing but let's say a Workday cloud, can connect to an SAP ECC, which is on the on-premise system. You deploy the SAP related process to the local runtime. You deploy Workday only process to the cloud runtime. The integration can run in three places. On the Boomi cloud, where Boomi manages everything. On your company network, you keep the full control. You use cloud for cloud apps, local for internal apps. So this flexibility is a major reason enterprise chooses Boomi. So in summary, you see deployment models in Boomi simply refer to where your integration process execute. So Boomi give organizations the flexibility to run integration in the cloud, inside their own network, or in the hybrid mode. So these are the three options we discussed. Cloud runtime is simple and fully managed service. The local runtime gives you full control and the security. The hybrid runtime provides flexibility for mixed environments. This flexibility is one of the main reasons why Boomi is a popular iPaaS platform for modern enterprise integration. Well, that's the end for this section on deployment models. I hope you're now familiar with deployment models. Well, that's the end of the session, so let's wrap it up. By now, you should be able to explain deployment models in your own terms. Thank you so much for listening to the end. I wish you a fantastic day. Bye and take care.